Like it or not, taxes are a part of all of our lives, and wherever you find enterprising individuals, you can bet a taxman will be right behind them. So you can bet that an industry that makes a product as popular as beer will be subject to a variety of taxes and duties. Today we're going to examine some of the many beer taxes from throughout the centuries and see just how they shaped the beer industry. Hello beer nerds, this is Beer by the Numbers. As long as there's been beer, there's been governments trying to tax it, and brewers have come up with some very creative ways to try to avoid them, which has even led to some new styles of beer. Today we're going to take a brief look at the history of beer taxes and see just how taxes may have reshaped the industry in unintended ways. Let's get started. The ancient Egyptians were the first to tax beer and had a simple tax per jug of beer sold system. However, sales taxes back then were easy to evade, so when brewing made its way to Europe, you can bet those creative European taxmen invented some interesting new ways to enforce taxes. In France, the city council of Aix-la-Chapelle mandated that brewers who didn't pay their taxes were to have their right hands cut off. In Germany, taverns who didn't pay up were torn down. This policy was taken to an extreme in Hamburg, where in 1550 there were more than 1,500 brewers, but after 50 years of exorbitant taxes on beer, only 120 remained by 1600. Beer taxes weren't always taken well by the people, however. In fact, after the American Revolution, the new government decided that it would not levy any taxes on beer, as the old duties the British levied on the states were seen as one of the major causes of the rebellion. And they talk about the Boston Tea Party all the time. And of course, brewers found creative ways to avoid taxes too. Most beer nerds enjoy a good Irish stout now and again, but most of them don't know that this style was born not through the results of new technology or new markets being open, but rather as a tax dodge. Arthur Guinness II developed his famous recipe using non-taxed unmalted roasted barley in place of black malts in his porters to reduce the costs. The bitterness of the roasted barley set his brews apart from the competition in England and Scotland, and that, combined with a lower price, allowed Guinness to become a major brewing force in the British Isles and their colonies. Taxes are also responsible for a historic drop in the gravities of British beers. Once brewers found a consistent way to measure the gravities of their beers, the government had a creative idea, taxing beers solely based on the original gravity of the wort. After the Free Mash Tun Act of 1880, British brewers began creating beers with lower original gravities, meaning that many British beers became drier and used less hops. Many period beers were under 4% ABV and had only mild hop aromas. Adjuncts also became more popular as they allowed for more alcoholic beers without pushing up the gravity as much as malted grains. Taxes on individual ingredients also continue to affect beer styles to this day. In Japan, there is a style of beverage called happoshu, and many of the drinks that use this moniker only have their low prices in common. Happoshu is a light beer made from as much as 75% corn or rice adjuncts in order to avoid malt taxes. The resulting drinks are as strong as a typical lager, but many complain of a distinct lack of taste. War has often been an excuse to raise taxes, and beer is not immune to such inclinations. The first beer tax in the US was actually imposed by Abraham Lincoln to help pay for the Civil War. This federal excise tax has been in place ever since and was dramatically increased during the Korean War in order to fund that conflict as well. But there have been even stupider reasons to increase taxes on beer. In a 2000 study published by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it stated that a 20-cent increase on a six-pack of beer could reduce the instances of gonorrhea in the US by 9%. The thinking was that cheap beer encouraged risky sexual behavior that spread the disease. Needless to say, the brewing industry scoffed at this illogical excuse for a tax, and noted that other cheap intoxicants could just as easily lead to the risky sexual behaviors the CDC was trying to prevent. Of course, the recent financial crisis of 2008 led to a new round of sin taxes all throughout the country. Fortunately, politicians have come to realize that local craft breweries can create a more robust local economy, and many of these taxes are slowly being chipped away at in state legislatures. Taxes, like it or not, are as much a part of the brewing process as mashing and boiling. Although taxation can sometimes throw the industry into chaos, it has also inadvertently created several beer styles we enjoy in the wide world of beer today. So however you feel about beer taxes in your area, remember that they played an important role in the development of the industry we love so much. If you enjoyed this video and didn't feel taxed by it, hit that like button. And if you want to be alerted each time we tap a fresh episode of Beer by the Numbers, hit that subscribe button. Also, check out the description below. I've got links to Twitter and Untappd down there. Stay curious, beer nerds, and as Winston Churchill once said, always remember that I have taken more out of alcohol than alcohol has taken out of me.